Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. My girlfriend said, "Leave if you want. You will be back begging within a month." She said it calmly, in front of her friends, while I was still sitting at the table serving plates of food I had cooked. I looked at her, listened to their quiet laughter, and felt something in me lock into place. I replied, "Start counting." That was the last night I slept in that apartment. The last night I spent building a life around someone who thought I would crawl back, just because she said I would. My name is Kareem, and for most of my 20s I prided myself on being stable. I worked as a software engineer, focused on back-end systems and infrastructure at a small but respectable tech company outside Atlanta. I paid my bills on time, kept a detailed budget, and made decisions slowly and carefully. When I met my girlfriend, Tanisha, stability was the very thing she claimed to love about me. She said it like a compliment, with her hand on my chest and a smile on her face. I did not realize how quickly she would later twist that word into an insult. Tanisha and I met at a friend's game night. A mutual friend, Reggie, invited both of us. I almost did not go because I had a deployment scheduled at work the next morning, but he insisted. Tanisha walked in late, laughing, carrying a tray of store-bought cupcakes she pretended she had made. She worked in marketing in an automotive company, and she knew how to speak so people listened. She sat next to me during a round of charades, nudged my shoulder, and asked about my job. "So what do you do, Kareem?" she asked, sipping her drink, leaning in like she was genuinely curious. "I'm a software engineer," I said. "Back-end systems, mostly. I keep the things nobody sees from crashing." She smiled. "So you're the one who actually makes everything work while everyone else takes the credit?" I laughed, surprised she understood the dynamics so quickly. That night we talked about everything from our families to our favorite shows. She told me she was ambitious, that she wanted to run her own marketing agency one day. I admired that. Ambition and stability felt like a good combination. The first year was good. We balanced each other. Tanisha pulled me out of my routine and encouraged me to try new restaurants, new hobbies, new clothes. I helped her organize her finances, set up automatic savings, and plan her business goals. We texted all day, cooked together on weekends, watched movies on the couch with her feet on my lap. When I think about that time, I understand why I ignored what came later. It was easy to believe the good parts would always outweigh the bad. Tanisha moved into my apartment about a year into the relationship. It was not a dramatic moment. It just happened slowly. A drawer here, a section of closet there, more and more of her things appearing until one day everything in the bathroom belonged to her except for my toothbrush. I had signed the lease alone. I paid the rent, the utilities, and most of the groceries. She brought over decorations and plants and said she was contributing in her own way. I told myself we were a team and it would even out over time. The first small cracks appeared as jokes. We were at a happy hour with her coworkers at a downtown bar. They were marketing people, loud, confident, always networking. Her friends that night were Brielle, Candace, and Tamara, all dressed like they were going to a photo shoot after drinks. I wore a button-down and clean sneakers and felt slightly underdressed. "You must be Kareem," Brielle said, shaking my hand. "We have heard so much about you." "Good things, I hope," I said. "She says you are very stable," Brielle replied, stretching the word out like she could not decide if it was praise or an illness. When someone asked what I did, I opened my mouth to answer, but Tanisha spoke first. "He does software stuff, tech things," she said, waving her hand like it was barely worth explaining. "Honestly, I do not really understand it." She laughed, and her friends laughed with her. "Software engineering," I said, forcing a small smile. "I work on back-end systems for our clients' platforms." Tanisha touched my arm. "He gets so technical," she said. "It is adorable." Adorable. The word stung more than I expected. I was proud of my work. I had studied for years and worked hard to get where I was. Being reduced to adorable felt like being turned into a child performing tricks. I let it go that night. They were not tech people. They did not need to understand what I did. But I remembered it. Money became another quiet fracture. We had been talking about taking a vacation together, maybe to New Orleans or Chicago. I suggested we save a bit more first. You are always so worried about money, Tanisha said, rolling her eyes. We are fine. I'm just trying to be responsible, I replied. You make decent money. I make more. Between us, we are doing great, she said casually. She did make more. As a marketing manager with commission, she was pulling in around $90,000 a year. On paper, she was the higher earner, but she had also not paid rent once in a year she had lived with me. Occasionally, she sent me $200 for groceries and told everyone she helped with the bills. You know, I pay for the apartment, right? I said quietly one evening when we were going through expenses. She shrugged, and I appreciate that. But come on, Kareem. It is not like you were struggling. You were just careful. Too careful sometimes. I wanted to say that careful was the reason the rent was always paid, the reason there was food in the fridge and money in savings. But I swallowed the words. Arguing over money felt petty, and I convinced myself it was not worth the fight. That was a mistake. The little digs continued. We went to Damara's birthday at a rooftop bar with expensive cocktails and a dress code that I barely met with my one good blazer. I found myself talking to a guy about his startup, genuinely interested in his product. He asked what I did, and I began to explain. He works in software engineering, I said. I focus on infrastructure and scaling systems for large clients. We have been redesigning some of our core. Tanisha slid in next to me, placing a hand on my arm. You need to stop doing that, she said under her breath. Doing what? I asked. Talking about work like that. People's eyes glaze over when you go into all the code and systems, she said. Just talk about normal things. Sports, travel, something people understand. You talk about work constantly. He asked what I did. I replied. I was answering. You were boring him, she insisted. My job is different. Marketing is interesting. People get it. I am just trying to help you make a good impression. I spent the rest of the night talking about basketball. I barely watched, and trips I could not afford because I was paying rent for both of us. I laughed at jokes I did not find funny. I answered questions with short, safe responses. By the time we got home, I felt like I had been playing a character all evening. Months passed like this. Small remarks, little humiliations that were easy to dismiss individually but heavy together. If I tried to bring them up, Tanisha would say I was being sensitive, that she was just joking, that I needed to relax. After each conversation, I would tell myself that no relationship was perfect and that nobody was at their best all the time. I did not realize I was slowly shrinking myself to fit into the version of me she preferred. Then the job offer arrived. It came in a simple email on a Tuesday afternoon. A growing tech company in Austin had found my profile, reviewed my open source work, and invited me to interview. I went through 3 rounds, a technical assessment, and a final conversation with the director. A week later, I opened my inbox and saw the subject line. Senior Software Engineer Offer, Austin. The offer was $185,000 base salary, plus a signing bonus, equity, and full relocation support. At the time, I was making $68,000. It was not just a raise, it was an entirely different life. The role was exactly what I had been working toward, with interesting problems to solve and room to grow. My hands shook slightly as I read the numbers again. That night, I decided to tell Tanisha over dinner. I cooked her favorite, lemon herb chicken, roasted potatoes, and green beans. I set the table, lit a candle, and tried to steady my breathing. When she walked in, she barely glanced at the food. Long day, I asked. Exhausting, she said, taking off her heels and dropping her bag by the door. Clients are impossible. I got a job offer today, I said, sliding the printed email across the table. Senior engineer role in Austin. She looked at the paper, then at me. Austin, like Texas? Yes, I said. It is a really good opportunity. The salary alone is nearly triple what I make now, and the work is exactly what I want to be doing. She let out a short laugh. You are not seriously considering moving to Texas. I am, I replied. It is the kind of role I have wanted for years. Kareem, be serious. My job is here. My friends are here. We have a life here. You cannot just uproot everything for more money, she said, picking up her phone. It is not just more money, I said. It is. Your job is fine, she interrupted. You are just having one of your moments. You will feel different tomorrow. I did not feel different the next day, or the day after that. I had 2 weeks to make a decision. I tried to bring it up a few more times. Each time, she brushed it aside, changed the subject, or told me I was overthinking. I decided to wait for the right moment, some calm evening when we were both relaxed. That moment never came. Instead, we had the dinner party. Tanisha asked me to cook for her friends on a Saturday night. You know they love your food, she said, wrapping her arms around my neck. Please? I already told them you would. I agreed. I liked cooking, and I wanted her to feel proud to have me there. I spent 2 hours preparing salmon, roasted vegetables, and homemade pasta while she got ready in the bedroom, changing outfits, applying makeup, and FaceTiming with Brielle about what shoes to wear. Her friends arrived right on time. Brielle in a fitted dress, Candace in a bright jumpsuit, and Tamara in heels that looked painful to walk in. They laughed as they came in, dropping their bags on the couch like they owned the place. Kareem is playing chef tonight, Brielle said, sniffing the air. It smells amazing in here. Yes, he is useful for that, Tanisha said with a laugh. Cooking and fixing my Wi-Fi. I brought out the food and set it on the table. They barely acknowledged it beyond a few quick compliments. As we started eating, they talked about work campaigns, influencer drama, and a trip they were planning to Miami. I listened quietly, answering when spoken to, trying not to dwell on Tanisha's earlier comment. So, did you close that luxury car deal? Candace asked Tanisha, swirling her wine. Not yet, Tanisha said, smiling. But I am in final negotiations. It is a $200,000 contract. If I land it, that is going straight on my resume and my bonus check. That is incredible, Tamara said. You are really killing it. She turned to me. What about you, Kareem? Still doing the computer thing? Software engineering, I said. Actually, he is thinking about moving to Texas for a job. Tanisha cut in, laughing like she had just shared an absurd joke. Austin. He thinks he's going to leave all this and become some big tech star. The table went quiet. Candace raised her eyebrows. Wait, you would move for a job? What about Tanisha? It is a really good opportunity, I said. It would triple my current salary. Triple? Brielle leaned forward. What do you make now? About $68,000, I replied. Tamara let out a small laugh. That is cute, she said. Tanisha, did you say you make around 90 plus commission? Yes, Tanisha replied, smiling wider now. So yes, I make more than him, which is why this whole Texas thing is ridiculous. I am basically the breadwinner here. The words hit like a punch. I set my fork down slowly. You do not pay rent, I said, my voice calm but firm. The table froze. Tanisha's smile disappeared. Excuse me, she said. You have not paid rent in a year, I said. I cover the apartment, the utilities, most of the groceries. You send me $200 sometimes. That is not what most people would call being the breadwinner. Tanisha's face flushed a deep red. Oh my goodness, she said. Are you really doing this in front of my friends? This is pathetic, Kareem. I am stating facts, I replied. No, you are being petty because you are embarrassed, she snapped. She turned to her friends with a tight laugh. Can you believe this? Candace shifted in her seat. Maybe we should talk about something else, she suggested softly. No, Tanisha said sharply. Let's talk about it. Kareem, if you're so unhappy, then leave. Go to Texas. Take your little job offer and see how far you get without me. Without you. I repeated. Yes, she said, leaning back and crossing her arms. You think you are impressive because one company sent you an offer? Please. You are boring, Kareem. You spend your weekends playing video games and writing code. I am the one with the social life, the connections, the real career trajectory. Without me, you're just some man who sits in front of a computer all day. Brielle looked down at her plate. Tanisha, she began, I do not think. Let me finish, Tanisha said, her voice growing louder. He has been moping about this offer for weeks like it is some huge dilemma. Here is the reality. He will not take it. He is too scared. He will stay here, keep a safe little job, keep cooking my dinners, and keep pretending that is enough. That is who he is. He needs me to be interesting. I felt something go very still inside me. I placed my napkin on the table and leaned back in my chair. So that is what you think of me? I asked quietly. I know that is who you are, she said. And honestly, leave if you want. You will be back begging within a month when you realize how lonely Texas is without anyone who actually cares about you. I studied her face, the satisfaction there, the certainty that she understood me better than I understood myself. Then I pushed my chair back and stood up. Start counting, I said. She blinked. What? You said a month, I replied. Start counting today. I walked away from the table, ignoring the stunned silence behind me. I went to the bedroom, grabbed my laptop bag, a hoodie, and my keys. My heart was pounding, but my movements felt oddly steady, as if my body had been waiting for this moment. Kareem, where are you going? Tanisha called, following me to the door. There was a nervous laugh in her voice now. You are being dramatic. Out, I said. Kareem, sit down, she insisted. My friends are here. You are embarrassing yourself. I turned to face her. Your friends just watch you humiliate me in my own apartment, I said. Enjoy the rest of your dinner. This is exactly what I mean, she said. You cannot handle confrontation. You run away. I'm not running away, I replied. I am leaving. There is a difference. I walked out and closed the door gently behind me. I drove to a hotel, checked in, and sat on the bed staring at the blank television screen for a long time. Eventually, I opened my laptop, pulled up the email from Austin, and typed 2 words, I accept. I added, 2 weeks' notice in my current job is fine. Please confirm details. The reply came 15 minutes later. We are thrilled. 2 weeks works perfectly. We will arrange relocation and send onboarding documents. I stared at the message, then leaned back against the headboard and let the emotions roll through me. Anger, humiliation, relief, and finally, a quiet sense of certainty. I was leaving. The next morning, I went back to the apartment while Tanisha was out at brunch. The place felt different, like a stage after the show is over. I moved through each room with a clear plan. I packed my clothes, my laptop, important documents, and a few personal items that mattered to me. I left the furniture. Most of it had been mine, but I did not want the weight of it in my new life. On the kitchen counter, I wrote a note in plain, careful handwriting. I took the job in Austin. I am moving in 2 weeks. The lease is in my name. You have 30 days to find a new place. I will cover this month's rent to give you time. After that, you are responsible for yourself. Kareem. I placed my key next to the note and walked out. Tanisha called 6 times that afternoon. I let the calls go to voicemail. Her first text read, Are you serious? You are throwing a tantrum over one dinner. I answered once, not a tantrum, a decision. You have 30 days. You cannot just kick me out, she replied immediately. We have been together over 2 years. The lease is in my name, I wrote back. You never paid rent. Legally, you are not a tenant. 30 days is generous. This is insane, she wrote. My friends think you have lost your mind. I blocked her number. She tried calling from Brielle's phone. I blocked that too. She showed up at my office a few days later. Security called upstairs. There's a Tanisha here to see you. She says it is urgent. Tell her I am in a meeting, I said. If she refuses to leave, I will file a harassment report. She left. That evening, there was a long email from her of apologies, explanations, and pleas for me to talk like adults. I closed it without finishing and moved it to a folder I never opened again. Over the next 2 weeks, I gave notice at my job. My manager was disappointed but supportive. My team, who had watched me quietly do my work for years, threw me a small farewell lunch. You are one of the most reliable engineers we have, my manager said. They are fortunate to have you. I realized how long it had been since I had heard that kind of direct appreciation. I hired movers for the few items I wanted to take. The relocation specialist from the Austin company helped me find a modern apartment downtown, close to the office and within walking distance of cafes and a park. Every email from them made the move feel more real. The day before I left, Tanisha came to the apartment while I was supervising the movers. She stood by the open doorway, arms wrapped around herself. She looked different from the woman who had mocked me in front of her friends. No makeup, eyes swollen, voice smaller. You are really doing this, she said. Yes, I replied. Over what I said at dinner, she continued. You are that petty. Petty is humiliating your boyfriend in front of your friends while he cooks dinner for all of you, I said. This is just a consequence. I did not mean it, she said. I was drunk and showing off. I know that makes it worse, but I was insecure and I said things I did not mean. It means that is what you truly think of me, I said quietly. You just usually have the sense not to say it out loud. She started to cry. Please, we can fix this. I will apologize to everyone. I will tell them I was wrong. I will start paying rent. I will do whatever you want. Just do not move. I do not want anything from you, I said. That is the point. I want nothing. I got into my car. She stood in the parking lot as I pulled away, tears streaking her face, hands half raised as if she could physically pull me back. I did not look in the rearview mirror. Austin felt like another planet compared to the life I had left. The air was hot and dry, the skyline a mix of glass buildings and cranes. My new apartment was on a high floor with large windows that let in more light than I was used to. The first night, I sat on the floor with a takeout container and looked around at the empty space. It was quiet in a way that felt full, not lonely. At my new job, the first week was a blur of onboarding, new faces, and complex code bases. My manager, Mr. Coleman, walked me around the office, introducing me to the team. Everyone, this is Kareem, he said. He is joining us as a senior engineer. His portfolio was excellent, and he is going to be key for our next phase. My colleagues took time to show me the architecture, answer my questions, and listen when I suggested improvements. When I ran my first successful deployment, the team lead slapped my shoulder and said, "Great work." That was clean. I had forgotten how good it felt to be respected for what I contributed. My first paycheck hit my account, over $7,000 after taxes and benefits. I stared at the screen for a long time, then laughed quietly to myself. I bought a Real bed, a proper desk, a comfortable chair, and a set of kitchen knives that felt good in my hand. I hung a few pieces of art on the walls, prints I had wanted for years, but never justified buying. Slowly, the apartment began to look like a place someone had chosen, not just a unit someone had ended up in. I joined a climbing gym near my building, mostly because I needed something to do outside work. There I met a small group of people who were serious about their careers and equally serious about their hobbies. One of them, Toby, worked in data science and invited me to join their Saturday morning climbing sessions. I accepted. For the first time in a long time, my weekends were filled with activity that had nothing to do with impressing anyone else. Through mutual friends back home, I started to hear pieces of news about Tanisha. I did not ask for updates, but people share them anyway. Reggie called me one evening. "I'm not taking sides," he said, "but I thought you should know she moved back in with her parents. She could not afford an apartment on her own once she actually had to pay rent. Things have been rough for her." I listened, then said, "I hope she figures things out," and changed the subject. I did not feel anger. I did not feel joy. I felt distance. A month after I moved, my phone rang from a number with an Austin area code. I assumed it was the internet company or a delivery service. "Hello." I answered. "Kareem," a familiar voice said. "Oh my God, you answered." My stomach tightened. It was Tanisha. "How did you get this number?" I asked. "I'm in Austin," she said. "I flew down. I needed to see you. Mark gave me your new number and address." Mark was an old coworker. I made a mental note to have a conversation with him later. "Please, I am downstairs in your lobby. Can I come up?" I could have said no. I probably should have. Instead, curiosity pushed me to see for myself what she wanted. "Stay there," I said. "I will come down." She was sitting in one of the lobby chairs when I stepped out of the elevator. She looked smaller somehow, tired in a way makeup could not hide. Her clothes were neat, but not as put together as usual. She stood when she saw me. "Nice building," she said softly. "What are you doing here, Tanisha?" I asked. "I needed to apologize," she said. "That dinner was a mistake. I was drunk and trying to show off. I was insecure about your offer, and I took it out on you. I did not mean any of it. You said I was boring," I replied. "You said I needed you to be interesting. You said I would be back begging within a month." "I was wrong," she said quickly. "Look at you. New city, new job, new place. You are thriving. And I miss you. I miss us. I can get a job here. We can start over. You think I want you to move here?" I asked. "We were good together," she insisted. "Before I said those things, I was jealous. Your offer made me feel small. You know how competitive I am. I am different now." "Different how?" I asked. Her shoulders slumped. I had to move back with my parents. My friends barely talk to me. I lost that car account. Work has been a nightmare. Everything fell apart after you left. Everything feels wrong without you. I came here because I love you. No, I said quietly. You loved having someone to cook your dinners, pay your rent, and stand behind you while you told your friends how much more successful you were. That is not the same thing as loving me. That is not fair, she said, voice cracking. I made mistakes, yes, but does that mean I do not deserve a second chance? You told me I would be back begging within a month, I said. It has been 4 weeks. I am not the one in this lobby asking for another chance. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Do not be cruel, she whispered. I am not being cruel, I replied. I'm being clear. You wanted me to stay small so you could feel big. Now that I am living up to my potential, you suddenly realize what you lost. That realization is not enough for me to rewrite everything that happened. Please, she said one more time. Just think about it. Let me stay a few days. We can talk. We can see if there is anything left. No, I said. The word felt final, solid. Just like that, she asked, stunned. Just like that, I answered. You decided who I was in front of your friends. I decided who I am now. I'm not lonely here. I have work I enjoy, people who respect me, and a life that does not revolve around proving my worth to you. So you just moved on, she said. You replaced me this quickly? I did not replace you, I replied. I rebuilt my life. You were part of the old version. I'm not going back. She stared at me for a long moment, as if she could force a different answer out of me by sheer will. When it did not come, her expression hardened. You will regret this, she said. I flew all the way here for you. I pressed the elevator button. As the doors began to close, I met her eyes one last time. Start counting, I said, and the door slid shut. 2 months later, I received a notification from a professional networking site. Tanisha had sent a short message. Saw your promotion to lead engineer. Congratulations. You were right about everything. I hope you are well. I read it once and closed the app. There was nothing left to say. That evening, my phone buzzed with a message from Toby. Still coming to the climbing meetup tonight? He asked. We have a new route you will like. Yes, I replied. I will be there. I grabbed my keys, stepped out into the warm Austin air, and headed toward a life that, finally, belonged entirely to me. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.